In the next 10 to 15 years, Bitcoiners are going to be wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. What we see on this chart here is the new supply of Bitcoin. Over time, the new supply of Bitcoin is decreasing and decreasing, and the entire world is going to fight for a smaller and smaller amount of Bitcoin until there's literally nothing left. Today, we look at 0.01 Bitcoin, which is worth $1,000 or so. We look at that as a small amount. We look at 0.001 Bitcoin as something that doesn't even make sense to pay attention to. It doesn't really matter. $100 worth of Bitcoin isn't going to do anything for you. But as the supply of Bitcoin decreases, you're going to see that $100,000 for one whole Bitcoin is extremely cheap. The entire world is going to want this thing. Most of the world hasn't figured it out yet. Bitcoin isn't even on the radar of some of the wealthiest people in the world who own millions of dollars worth of assets, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of assets. They haven't even thought of this yet because Bitcoin is just too small for them. Today, they can buy thousands of Bitcoin or hundreds or even tens of Bitcoin. At some point in the future, the current millionaires and billionaires aren't even going to be able to buy one whole Bitcoin because every single country in the world is going to be fighting for Bitcoin. Every single individual in the world is going to be fighting for Bitcoin. Every single business in the world is going to be fighting to buy as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. Everybody is in this race. Every single person on earth is in this race. Most people haven't figured it out yet. Most people have no idea that this is happening. 99% of the world is still ignoring Bitcoin. Out of all of the people who own Bitcoin today, the majority still think that it's just another asset to diversify their portfolio with. These people are selling. They're giving their Bitcoin away. They think that they'll buy back in when it's cheaper. But right now, there are companies buying thousands of Bitcoin every single week. A company named Metaplanet, they plan to buy 200,000 Bitcoin by 2027. Where's this Bitcoin going to come from? Eventually, the people who are willing to sell their Bitcoin for dollars are going to run out. At some point, Bitcoin's price is going to run up so high to convince you to give away your Bitcoin for dollars or for anything. Companies are going to be creating products specifically catered to Bitcoiners, high quality products that you truly enjoy using. So Bitcoiners are going to be wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. They're going to be able to buy the higher quality food, the organic, the fresh, rather than frozen or canned. They're going to be able to buy the fresh meat instead of having to buy some random alternative that maybe has a fraction of the nutrients. The maximum supply of Bitcoin is 21 million. Today, you can buy one Bitcoin for about $100,000. So it's still achievable for a lot of people. A lot of people who own homes can borrow against their house. A lot of people who have millions of dollars worth of real estate can sell some of their real estate. They can buy some Bitcoin. A lot of people own stocks and margin accounts. Those stocks can be issued at any time. New companies can come and disrupt whatever company they have, but Bitcoin supply can never be increased. So the 100,000 Satoshis that you can buy today, the 0.001 Bitcoin, buy it. If you can afford it, get it. At some point, it'll be worth $1,000. Then it'll be worth $10,000. Then it'll be worth $100,000. Think about each little stack of Bitcoin that you have as a brick. If you want to build a house, you can't just have it all made at once. If you want to get to 0.01 Bitcoin, stack $5, $10, $15 a day. Whatever you can buy, just buy it. Because whatever Bitcoin you can get is going to be worth significantly more than what it's worth today. This supply schedule does not lie. You're going to see less and less Bitcoin hit the market. You're going to see less and less Bitcoin being sold for dollars because dollars can be printed. More and more people are borrowing money to buy Bitcoin. So they're bringing their future consumption to the present. Corporations who can't be liquidated, who have their debt structured in a way where their Bitcoin can't be taken from them. So these companies are bringing their future consumption to the present and they're buying as much Bitcoin as they can. MicroStrategy is eliminating 1,000 whole coiners a week. 1 week, they eliminated 50,000 whole coiners. They eliminated 500,000 people who can buy 0.1 Bitcoin. 5 million people who can buy a million Satoshis because they bought 50,000 Bitcoin. You need to get on this before all of Wall Street figures it out. But most people are going to ignore this video. They're not going to buy because they're going to wait for Bitcoin's price to fall, or they're going to make an excuse like, I can't live in a Bitcoin, so why would I buy it? They're ignoring the fact that Bitcoin is the best performing asset of all time. In the last 10 years, it's up 44,000%. In the last 5 years, it's up 1,000%. I would assume that, let's say, the next 5 years, Bitcoin is going to be up another 500%, if not more. But gold will only be up, let's say, 100%, maybe 200%. The S&P 500 will probably be up maybe 200%. But Bitcoin is going to outpace them. And you're going to see that the people who own Bitcoin are the wealthiest out of every single investor out there. The people who own Bitcoin don't have to do anything. They just have to buy and hold, and it just does all the work for them. The people who are taking the risk with this brand new asset class that most people don't understand, in the next 10 to 15 years, when the entire world wants Bitcoin, when every billionaire wants a stack of Bitcoin, when every trillionaire, at some point there will be trillionaires in terms of US dollars, when every trillionaire wants a stack of Bitcoin, they're going to be coming after what you have. And it doesn't really matter how much Bitcoin you start buying. Over time, no matter how much Bitcoin you buy, you're going to outperform everything else. So let's say you start with $10 of Bitcoin every week. I'll zoom in as I show you the numbers, but you're going to start with $10 of Bitcoin every week. It gives you a 30% return. So let me zoom in here. Over time, you're going to have 1.3 million Satoshis in 2026, 2.3 million in 2027, 3.6 in 2029, and so on. We can see here in 2040, your $10 per week in Bitcoin is going to be worth $113,000. Then in 2049, it's going to be worth $1.2 million. And remember, all of this started with $10 per month. $10 per month got you over $1 million. Let's say that you do this for your kid. You have a newborn kid. You buy $10 worth of Bitcoin every week for the next 18 years. You would have invested $9,360. The Bitcoin that you bought for them would be worth $251,000. Your investment in that Bitcoin stack would be only 3.73% of the total value. So the Bitcoin would have increased in value by something like 26 times. At that point, one Bitcoin would be worth $4.5 million. And keep in mind that this assumes that the US dollar is still around. At some point, the US dollar will have gotten so weak that we no longer would value Bitcoin in the US dollar. We would value the US dollar in Bitcoin. So let's say you're going to be going to a flea market, you're going to see US dollars being sold as a collectible. You're going to pay them 2 Satoshis for a $100 bill. At some point, this is going to be the case. I don't know when this is going to happen, but at some point, we're going to see hyperinflation because more and more people are going to borrow US dollars and add them to the economy, and we're going to see the price of everything go up even more. So let's say instead of 30%, Bitcoin actually goes up 50% per year. At this point, in 18 years, Bitcoin would be worth $59 million. And the value of what you would have bought for your kid would be worth $2.3 million. Of course, the value of the US dollar would have decreased. Let's say the US dollar decreases at 10% per year in that period. So over time, it accelerates and accelerates 10% per year. Your expenses, if you were spending $60,000 a year today, in 18 years, in 2043, you'd be spending $333,000. So your expenses would have increased from 60,000 to 333,000, so 5.5 times, but your Bitcoin stack would have increased by something like 250 times from this 9360 to this $2.3 million. Just start buying. It doesn't really matter how much you buy. If you buy $10 a week, $10 a month, just start buying. Put something away. Put something into Bitcoin so that in the future, you can look back on this video and you can think, I took action. I actually bought Bitcoin. I did it. If you want to book a meeting with me, if you just want the nudge, I actually added a 15-minute option, which is cheaper. It's under $100. If you want to book a meeting with me, you can do that in the link in the description below. Other than that, just keep stacking Bitcoin. Keep buying as much as you can. Try out the community. I started a trial session. If you want to, you can have 7 days for free. You can just check it out. Stack Bitcoin. Keep creating value. Keep creating more and more stuff that other people want. Be productive so that you can get paid and you can use that money to buy Bitcoin. If you move from $10 per week to $20 per week, think about it. In 18 years, that Bitcoin would be worth $4.6 million. If you just kept it in dollars, it'd be worthless because at that point, your expenses would have gone up by 5.5 times. So every $10 that you kept in US dollars would now be worth $2. So your goal here is to just buy Bitcoin, wait, and at some point, you're going to be wealthy beyond your wildest dreams.